Hey guys, I'm super excited to be here in Seattle at the Amazon Accelerate conference, sitting down today with Tengfei Qiao to talk about one of the most amazing releases they're giving us this year, the Product Performance Spotlight. But before we get into the details about this dashboard, Tengfei, can you tell us a little bit more about you and your story, how you got here?
Okay, thank you. Yeah, thank you, Vanessa, for having me here. So my name is Tengfei. I'm a principal technical product manager with Amazon Selling Partner Growth Team. I've had 15 years product management experiences focusing on customer-facing product with my vision and my passion around making customers' life easier. So in my current role at Amazon, me and my team focus on building analytics tools and data-driven solutions to empower Amazon sellers to make more informed decisions and make better sales and traffic analytics experiences.
That's amazing. I think the giving data to sellers is one of the most critical things, and I'm super excited to see that going live. And you mentioned you work in the analytics and the reporting. Can you tell us a little bit more about the strategy when it comes to releasing this feature?
Yeah. That's a great question. So when talking about strategy, I think it all comes into the seller research. So we observe the SOPs and analytics experiences of a lot of sellers, and we try to distill the commonalities from that. So one of the things we observed is most of the sellers will start their analytics experiences at ASIN level. For sure, it could be parent ASIN, it could be child ASIN, depending on what you're selling. So once identifying the ASINs, the next step is identifying the metrics. So there could be a lot of metrics contributing to the ASIN sales and traffic, and we want to consolidate all the metrics and try to help the sellers identify what are the most important metrics for them to grow. And lastly, once we identify the metrics improvement, we'll connect the metric improvement ideas with the actions that the seller want to take, and the actions is a personalized, data-driven, and specifically for the product you want to grow, so that you can get the efficient growth of your sales performance. So lastly, just like my passion of making customers' life easier, our long-term vision is to build the analytics experiences that to help the seller identify sales abnormalities and drill down into sales and traffic performances and take actions easily, quickly, and efficiently.
That's incredible. I think it's going to be a huge step forward for customers or for sellers to get this data and actually perform good decisions in their business. So what are the specific problems that you're hoping to solve when this dashboard comes out?
Yeah, that's a great question. I like to answer this question maybe with an example. So let's say now you're a seller and you want to observe your sales performance last week. So you open Seller Central, you open Business Report, and you look at your sales performance last week. And unfortunately, you found that your sales dropped by maybe 50% week over week. Knock, knock. I just hope that never happens, a general assumption, right?
Yeah.
So there's going to be a lot of questions popping up in your mind, like what drives it, and why is that, and what am I supposed to do with that, or even is that 50% job like a normal job, like a post-holiday sale handover, or is it like something that I should be worrying about? So Product Performance Spotlight is built to solve all those questions for you.
That's incredible. I think it will fix a lot of the guessing and help with the strategy, making decisions faster.
Yeah.
And okay, so you state the problem. It's like, okay, I don't have the data. I don't know what happens. But how is this dashboard gonna solve this issue?
Yeah. So there's a couple of things you can definitely do in the dashboard. So first, the thing I like to say is to identify the driver ASINs. So we all have the experience. We may have a whole catalog of product to sell, maybe hundreds of items, but maybe there's only a few of them contributing majority of the sales fluctuation. So the first step of Product Performance Spotlight is we tell you what are the ASINs that are driving your sales fluctuation. It could be like some traffic lagging behind, or it could be some sales that are not performing well. It could be some conversions that need some more improvement. So we tell you what are the ASINs you need to focus on. And the next question we're helping you to answer is it good or bad? So we do this by comparative benchmarking. There's another question that you may have in your mind is, let's say I identify the ASIN, and I feel like my ASIN sales is $1,000 per month, And then you may still have a question. $1,000 per month, is it good or bad? Is it like going 50% down a normal decline after a post-holiday sale, or is it something that I should really be worried about? Product Performance Spotlight, just to do this comparative benchmarking, we leverage machine learning to group an ASIN cohort we consider similar to your ASIN in terms of a catalog attribute, in terms of pricing. And you can compare your performance, like your sales, your traffic, and your conversions with this benchmarking sellers, with this benchmarking ASINs, so that you can know, hey, am I lagging behind or am I leading a little bit more? And the next thing we're doing is consolidated metrics. So now that you identify, hey, this is the ASIN I need to improve, and $1,000 a month doesn't sound very well, and I need to improvement. And the idea is, what metrics should you improve to boost the final sales? So you no longer need to piece out all the information together and just from different dashboard by calling repetitive APIs. And we'll have centralized the dashboard aggregating most of the important product metrics for you so that you can pull them all together and observe the correlation side by side, and so that you would know what metrics you need to focus on. And the last thing is to connect them with actions. So let's say by observing the metrics, you feel like, hey, my sales is not doing well, and this is probably triggered by my conversion, which dropped by 30 bips last month, right? So then you may have a lot of questions. What am I supposed to do with the conversion? And Product Performance Spotlight connected your conversion metrics with the actions that can really help your conversion, whether you can improve your advertising efficiency by bidding on keywords that have a higher conversion to your customers, or you can enhance your A+ content, add a video, add a script, add an image, yada, yada, so that you can just boost your conversion and consequently bring your sales back on track.
Wow, that's incredible. I think it's going to be a massive release for the sellers, not only understanding the metric, comparing that to competition and market and category, and on top of that, getting the recommendations on what actions to take. Stepping back a bit, what is the benefit on this dashboard for the seller overall? What are the high-level benefits that these have?
Yeah, that's a good question. I like to echo to my previous passion of making customers' life easier. So if there are only two keywords people want to take home from today's session, that would be ease and efficiency. And that's the core benefit I like to convince through Product Performance Spotlight. So historically, Amazon sellers has to spend a lot of effort on identifying the right ASINs I should be focusing on, identifying the right metrics I should be focusing on, and they need to download the data from different dashboards and manually piece things up together. Or they need to make repetitive API calls, like they may make like 30 or 50 API calls repetitively just to draw a line of week-over-week trend. So Product Performance Spotlight automate the entire process, so you will be able to have a centralized dashboard just viewing all the metrics that are critical for you in a glance, and you can also view the ASINs that are important for you at the same time. And another benefit beyond ease and efficiency I like to share is the new data insight. Specifically, I like to call out benchmarking. So today, most of the Amazon sellers will do the benchmarking through BSR, best seller ranking. However, BSR is pretty indexed on ranking and it's also pretty indexed on sales, right? So, but seller will have a question like, how about the other metrics? How about traffic? How about conversions? How about pricings? How about all the other input metrics? So Product Performance Spotlight provide you the capability to compare all the other input metrics beyond just the sales. So you can know like what are my traffic, conversion, pricing in comparison with my benchmarking competitors. The last but not least, so we want to build logical connections between the actions and the metrics. So I used to meet a seller who spent a lot of effort just manually piece out all the information from all different dashboards and say, hey, this is a tons of my data, but what am I supposed to do with that? So Product Performance Spotlight answers this question, like among all the potential actions, these are a list of actions that are most suitable for you to grow your sales or grow your certain metrics. So you don't need to no longer need to scratch your head and try to identify a certain actions that going to be work for your ASINs. We automate the whole process. So in short, Product Performance Spotlight makes customers' life smarter, but not working harder. So through Product Performance Spotlight, we give you the tools and insight that focus on highest potential opportunities so that Amazon sellers can make more informed business decisions to grow their business at Amazon store.
I love what you said there when you mentioned efficiency and ease. I think those are the keywords for this dashboard. And can you tell me a little bit more on why did you decide, or what were the things that make you decide what features to put into the Product Performance dashboard?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So, you know, Amazon is famous for the leadership principle of customer obsession, and so do me and my team. In this context, sellers are our customers. So all of our priorities and the features are backed up by the seller research. And during the past, like maybe 9 months of 2024, I actually personally have attended 3 rounds of the seller interviews, 2 rounds of usability testings, and 5 office visits for the seller's office across the world, and also 4 rounds of roundtable discussion. I also transitioned myself to a heavy subscribers of the social medias or video platforms on some best practices on how to best sell at Amazon, for sure, including Carbon6. So I thought like about the process, and then we always ask sellers the questions, and we always try to understand what they need through this interview process. So with that being said, one of the very interesting things I like to share is the story behind identifying the top line metrics. As a context, in e-commerce world, there's hundreds of different metrics you can tell that tells the different status of ASIN performance. But there's only a handful of metrics that sellers should be see, so to get a glance view of how their ASIN performing good or bad, right? So what are the top line metrics we want to identify? Just in business report, we have 27 metrics, not mentioning all the other existing report like search, opportunity explorer, yada, yada. So how do we identify the most important ones for the seller? With this question in mind, we actually ask a seller to show us the operational process and their analytics experiences like through the world. And we kind of ask a seller the question like, what is your most important metrics? Can you show me about that? What metrics would you check in the beginning, and what metrics would you check to further identify what happens with your sales performance? And sellers showed us this process, and then we distilled a lot of commonalities. So one of the commonality we said is seller always start their analytics with sales. So this is quite obvious because you're always pursuing for revenues at Amazon, right? So, and then when their sales is not doing well, seller always break down their sales to pricing, average selling price, and the unit, like how many items that they sold. And then they kind of break down unit by traffic and conversion. Well, traffic is represented by session, and conversion is represented by unit session ratio. So that actually defines our top 5 most important metrics, including OPS, sales, traffic, which is session, conversion, unit session rate, and also pricing and unit. So that's our top 5 most important metrics. And then the rest of process actually differs a little bit. Some sellers, let's say when they're seeing their traffic going down, they would like to maybe spot check their advertising performance. Some sellers would like to spot check their search keyword performance. And some sellers may go directly to their competitors to see if there's any aggressive advertising campaigns ongoing. To solve that problem, we use generative AI and machine learning to automatically understand the personality of your product and try to come up with the customized and personalized recommendations to tell what's going on with your product and what is the right actions to take to bring your sales back on track.
It's amazing to hear that this also accounts for AI giving the right information at the right time. And this is one of the things that I think in the community was something that sellers were always chasing for, is all of those metrics in separate dashboards. Now, in the Product Performance Spotlight, having all in one will make the life of a bunch of sellers easier, for sure. Do you have any tips and best practices on how to use this dashboard?
Yeah. So I personally would like to share 2 best practices I like to do with Product Performance Spotlight. One of the things I like to do a lot is to do the cross-compare metrics and observe the correlations. So I'll explain that a little more. For example, I used to have a seller ask me, so I hypothesized that my mobile traffic contribute a lot to my sales, but how sensitive it is. So Prop Performance Spotlight allows you to pick a couple of metrics and put them on the same line chart side by side so that you can observe the correlation. So in this specific case, you can just put a mobile traffic, which is a mobile page view, and your OPS in the same chart, and you can see if they always consistently go up and down. If you observe a strong correlation between these two, you may then come up with a more certain idea, hey, maybe mobile traffic is very important to my sales. And then you may take an action to either increase your mobile traffic or to improve your mobile conversion by changing your A+ content or advertising materials more mobile friendly. Alternatively, if you find your sales, let's say, keep stable whenever your mobile traffic going up and down, and you may be more on the other side of the story, hey, maybe my potential customers are mobile agnostic. So that's one thing. The other thing I really like to share is the full benchmarking. So seller is pretty easy to get the conclusion, hey, I'm lagging behind a little bit in terms of sales. But the challenging part is to understand like how my competitors are doing so well. So let's say sellers may see, hey, my overall sales is slightly behind my top competitors. But then the question is, how do I catch up with them? So Prop Performance Spotlight allow you to not only compare the sales, but all the other input metrics. You can then compare traffic, you can then compare like conversions. Like in this specific use case, you can see, hey, maybe my sales is slightly behind the competitors, but my traffic is roughly on par, and my conversion is quite falling behind, so that you can have a more focused attention to drive your conversion, and you can either create more like attractive A+ content or like the focusing on customers that converting better. So that will give you a direction on how you improve your sales.
So one thing that comes to mind when you were mentioning all of the benchmarking stuff, I wonder if sellers will be able to compare async to async with their competitors. I find it interesting to see if that's what is available or will be a conglomerate of multiple asyncs within the category.
That's a very good question. I think for today, we're only allowed to compare their asyncs with a group of competitor asyncs. The thing part of that is, as a seller, you definitely want to understand your competitors. However, as a seller, you also don't want to expose your own async sales and traffic numbers to your competitors, right? So with that being said, we today do not expose any single async sales and traffic to any of the other competitors. The way we do that is we use the machine learning to come up with a group of asyncs that we consider that similar to you, and we consider them as competitors. And you have the option of compare your metrics with the average of the competitors, or you have the options to compare your metrics with the top 10% of the competitors. So that's the among the competitor cohort, the top 10% of the top sale asyncs, and you compare your sales and traffic with them.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And I do agree, like there is a lot of privacy concerns in that way. Now, one thing that I would like to hear from you is what is next for your team? What is the future iterations of this dashboard look like? And yeah, what are you building next?
Yeah, there's a tremendous of effort we need to continue to build Prop Performance Spotlight better. One of the things that keep coming in my mind is adding more metrics. So by end of 2024 launch, you will see around like 30 plus metrics in Prop Performance Spotlight, including the top 5 metrics that I just mentioned. However, 30 metrics is far less than the whole spectrum of metrics that seller would need. So with that being said, we strive to keep adding more metrics into the consolidated view so seller can cross-compare more metrics. Another thing that in my mind is to further simplify seller's life. Remember, in my previous conversation, we just talked about like seller can pull the two metrics into the same line chart and observe the causal correlation. So what if we do that proactively for sellers? Imagine a world that you open, by the time you open Prop Performance Spotlight, you just see information. Hey, among your sales, we consider metrics X, metrics Y are most important for your sales. Please go enhance them. So that would be a much even simpler life in comparing with what you have today. we're going to keep improving product performance spotlight. And we totally understand identifying a single, full simplified ASIN level performance analytics is not like a one-stop shop. It's a longer multi-year journey. So what we launch in 2024 is not the end of the journey, but it's the beginning of the multi-year iterations. I really look forward to hear about seller feedback on how they're using Product Performance Spotlight and any ideas we should further improve that. And I'm also excited to see how sellers are able to use Product Performance Spotlight this year and make their life easier.
Yeah,
Thank
that's
you.
amazing. Thank you so much, Tengfei, to sitting with me and explain us everything about the Product Performance Spotlight. It is amazing to see that Amazon is going towards giving more ease and efficiency for sellers. I'm super excited to see it in the real world, and everything that you mentioned about the future of this dashboard, it makes me really excited. So guys, make sure to stay tuned because we have more releases on what's coming for the Amazon Accelerate Conference 2024.